Hey guys, it's Heather the Crochet Witch, and I am coming to you today with a festive tutorial for what I like to call Santa's favorite hat. Hopefully you guys will enjoy making it, and there's no written pattern for it because it's quite a repetitive, easy pattern. If you prefer written patterns, if you would like a written pattern, if there's enough requests for it, I will put one out for you guys. But otherwise, it's just this free tutorial. And if there is any written patterns that I do have that you may be interested in, the link to my Etsy store will be down below. But otherwise, just enjoy this festive free pattern, hopefully. I hope you guys do enjoy it. Let's take a look at what we need to get started, and then let's get started. So thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that you find this easy to make, and I hope that you think that it's worthwhile. I certainly do. I love it. I have one in black that I wear more often than red. But as you can see, Frankie back here is sporting a red one also, and I will be making some other colors also. So anyway, let's get started. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you later. Bye. So to make this hat, which is Santa's favorite hat, today we are going to be using Feels Like Butter from Lion Brand. This is a 4-weight yarn, so really if you have a different 4-weight yarn that you prefer to use, then by all means go for it. This is in the color red though, just red, so Feels Like Butter. We're going to need a skein of, also from Lion Brand, the Go for Faux Thick and Quick. And this is in the color Baked Alaska, because this is the very white one. You could also certainly do it with any other color of the Go for Faux brand. We are going to be using with the red yarn a size I crochet hook. I like Susan Bates myself, but use whatever you'd like, which is a 5.5 millimeter also. And then for the later part, we are going to be using a 15 millimeter hook, which according to Clover is a P or a Q. And then you will obviously need scissors and you will need a needle. Might I suggest that you get the biggest eye possible? And I would highly recommend a metal needle and not a plastic one, because sewing in the Go for Faux is like a heavy duty job. So, like, honestly, this is a Susan Bates and it's a big eyed needle. And if you can find a bigger eyed metal needle, I would certainly suggest it. But as you'll see at the end of this video, this one will work. You just have to fiddle with it a little bit. Yeah, so I think that's everything that you need. So let's get started making Santa's favorite hat. Okay, so what's important for the beginning of this, and you'll see why at the end, is that you leave a super long tail before we start our magic circle. Like, I'm going to leave a super long tail, but that's like a super, super long tail. Like, we're talking maybe, about a foot, we'll say. You'll see why as like at the end of the tutorial, but we're going to start with a magic circle, and in that magic circle we're going to do 8 single crochet. So I always chain up 1 to get it started for a single crochet, and then just work 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so we have a line of stitches here and the ring back here, and we're gonna start closing it up. Now actually, one thing I forgot I'm gonna go grab is my stitch marker, because what I suggest is that you count back 8 here and then mark that 8th one, or the very first one I should say, that you did with a stitch marker, as it's going to be helpful to use a stitch marker probably as you go through this hat, just because it's such a long hat and we're going to work in the round, so you're not going to want to lose your spot. I mean, if you do, it's not the end of the world, but yeah, I would grab a stitch marker. So I'm going to go do that and I'll meet you back here. Alright, so as you can see, I just placed my stitch marker here on the 8th one. So you have your 8 single crochets, and then we're going to actually close up the circle. Okay, and don't worry if it's not fully closed or if it comes open a little bit, you can close it at the end. And it might be easier to have the teeniest little hole left anyway, which will loosen up as we go, so it'll be fine if it does loosen up, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So then what we're going to do is this hat is going to be worked in extended single crochet, and I will show you how to do a couple. I know we just marked this to pull it shut, but we're going to go into that first loop, so we'll take the stitch marker off for a second. And the next 3 rows, what we're going to do is work 1 extended single crochet in each one of the stitches. So just 8, just sort of starting to build the tip of this Santa hat. And you're going to leave, a lot of times I like to work over my tail, but we're just going to leave that out, hanging out, okay? So an extended single crochet is the same whereas you put it in through your loop without wrapping over at all. Then you wrap over and bring it through, and instead of wrapping over and bringing it through and finishing your single crochet, you're going to wrap it over, bring it through once, and then bring it through. Okay? That's what I've always learned was an extended single crochet. And then I am going to pop my stitch marker in here again into the first one. So that'll be the first stitch of the round. And just continue on. So we're going to put 8 of these in total, 1 in each stitch. And it looks weird right now, but once the hat gets going, it makes this like texture-y, almost like a knit stitch it's been compared to before. So 5, 6, 7, get in there, and 8. So that's the first of 3 rows. It doesn't look like much yet, besides a weird little circle, but it will. So the next row, we're going to start by working right into this stitch right here. And we're going to do this twice more. So I'm going to do the first like stitch or 2 with you, and then we're just going to come back after the 3 rows are done, okay? So we're going to go in there and do an extended single crochet, and then we're going to pop that stitch marker back in and do another one. And then let's do one more together. If I can get my own hook in the right hole. That's the 3rd one. Okay, so we're going to do 8 again, go all the way around, move your stitch marker, and go all the way back around again for a total of 3 rows of this extended single crochet. and then I will meet you back here to go on to the next increase. All right, so far we have made the first row of single crochets and then 3 rows of extended single crochets. Now the next thing we're going to do is pop out the stitch marker. This seems tedious at first, but A, like I said, it's really good not to lose your stitch since we're working in the round, and B, as we go with the increases getting bigger and bigger, you're not going to have to switch your stitch marker like every 2 seconds. So for the next increase row, we are going to do another extended single crochet in the first stitch. Whoa, in the first stitch. And then we're going to do a second extended single crochet in the first stitch. All right, so you got 2 in the first stitch. So we're going to pop our stitch marker into the first stitch that we made of the row. Okay, and then you're going to do 2 extended single crochets in each stitch. So we're going to increase from 8 stitches to 16 stitches in this row, okay? Okay, so let me meet you back around again once I've got 2 in each one. I'll be right back. Okay, so we just finished 16 of these extended single crochets in this row, and it's starting to bell out just a bit here, like you can see, because we're doing our increases, obviously. So what we're going to do for 3 rows now is we're going to put 1 stitch in each one of these around. So don't forget to move your stitch marker with you, and 1, and we're going to pop that stitch marker back in. So it's back on the first one again. And go ahead and do 3 rows of extended single crochet, 1 in each one. So the whole goal of doing the multiple rows of the same, of course, is to, like, yes, we're growing it out, but we're growing it out long. So because Santa's hat is obviously like long and triangular and not just pointed, you know, in a slight slope. So do 3 more rows like this with 16 each, and I will meet you back at the end of that. Okay, so we've done 3 rows with the 16 extended single crochet, and here's what we're looking like so far. Okay, now what we're going to get into now is it's still just extended single crochet. If you are having a difficult time with this tail, I would go ahead, because the hat's kind of long enough now, to just ball it up and stuff it down in the hat and get it out of your way so you're not accidentally crocheting over it or anything like that, and it'll be there later for you, I promise. So like I said, we're going to get into like the stitch multiple recipe now, or however you want to refer to it as. But you'll notice there's going to be a definite like rhythm to it as we go now, and I'll probably just show you the increase row, and then just let you know, like I am going to do like the increase row now, and then you're going to do 2 rows of just 1 in each stitch kind of thing. So let's do that now and do the increase row. So we're going to do 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch. So there's 1, and place our stitch marker. And then a second one into that same stitch. Okay, so you got 2 hanging out there. And then you're going to do 1 into the next stitch. And then you're going to do 2 again into the next stitch. And then you're going to do 1, and that's going to be our repeat row. You're going to end up with 24 stitches going around. So you'll do 1, 2, and then 1, 1, 2, and then 1. Let's do it together one more time. Do 1, 2, whoop, 2, and then 1. Okay, and I will meet you back around after we have finished this increase round. Okay, so we just finished that increase with the 2 and the 1, and then we're going to dive back in by removing our stitch marker and doing 1 extended single crochet, and let's get the stitch marker back in there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is go around in each one of these 24 extended single crochet. We are going to work 1 extended single crochet, sorry. And we're going to do that for 2 rows. So we're going to do 2 rows with 24 stitches each, and I'm going to meet you back here after that. Okay? All right, so we have done 24 stitches for 2 rows, and now we're going to move on and remove the stitch marker for just a moment. And the next multiple row that we're going to do is 2 extended single crochets in the first stitch. So 1, let's get the stitch marker put in there. And then a second one in the same stitch. So 2. And then we are going to do 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, get some more yarn going here. And then we're just going to do that repeat. So we're going to do 2 in the next one. 1, 2, and then 1 in the next 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we are going to just repeat that around 2 more times, and we're going to end up with a total of 28 stitches. So I will meet you back when I finish that in just a sec. Okay, so we've done 28 extended single crochet stitches, and see how it's starting to be like, yes, it's a triangle, but you can tell it's going to be like a long extended triangle. It's not just going to be a short, like kind of stubby one. Otherwise we'd have more of a garden gnome one, I suppose. I guess currently right now it kind of looks like a garden gnome hat. Okay, well anyway, so in rhythm with our little recipe here, we're going to move the stitch marker and do 1 extended single crochet and put that stitch marker back up here. Looks like it's the worst thing ever to get even this far into a project and can't figure out where your first stitch was, so you're just kind of winging it. Even though it works out, you're still kind of like, at least I am. I'm still kind of like, I don't know where exactly it was. Anyway, So we're going to do 2 rows where we just put 1 extended single crochet in each one of these. So it's going to be 2 rows of 28 total. And I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to meet you back here to do the next increase row. All right, so we have finished the 2 straight rows of 1 extended single crochet in each, making 28 per row, and it's growing. And we're going to go to the next increase row. So we're going to remove our stitch marker for just a sec, and we're going to put in 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch. So there's 1. Put our little stitch marker back in there, and in the same stitch 2. Okay, and then we're going to do 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to do 2 again, because this is our repeat. So 2 extended single crochet in this next stitch here. And then 6 in the next, well, 1 in the next 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to do that 2 more times. We're going to end with a total of 32 stitches, and I will finish this row and meet you right back again. Okay, so we just finished the repeat row with 32 stitches total, and what we're going to do is, you guessed it, 2 more rows where we do 1 extended single crochet in each one of these stitches for, again, a total of 32. We're going to do 2 rows like that, and we're going to meet back up to do the next increase row. So let's do those 2 rows, and I will meet you back again here. Okay, so we have just finished those 2 rows that we have not increased on, and we are about to increase again. This increase is going to be 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch. So let's remove our stitch marker and make 1 and put our stitch marker back. And 2 in the same one. And then we're going to do 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and then we're going to do our repeat again, which is 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch here. And then 1 in the next 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we are going to continue the repeat around twice more, and we're going to have a total of 36 stitches. So I will meet you back here in just a moment. Okay, so we've done the increase again, and we're going to work 2 more rows with just 1 extended single crochet in each one of these stitches. We're going to do 2 rows of that. We're going to have 36 total stitches in each row, and we're going to come back for the next increase after we've done these 2 rows. See what a nice fabric this is making, by the way. Like, I love the extended single crochet because it's not quite as like lengthy as a double crochet, and it's not, I don't know, it's not quite as like squat, I guess, as like condensed as a half double crochet. But yeah, anyway, I just thought I like the texture, and it's going to be really pretty once it's a big long hat. But you can see how it's like working up already. But anyway, like I said, do 2 rows of 1 in each stitch, a total of 36. And I will meet you back here once those 2 rows are complete. Okay, so we've just finished the 2 rows of the 36 stitches each. And we are going into our next increase row. So we're going to remove the stitch marker, and our next increase is going to be 2 extended single crochet in the first again. So 1, and place our stitch marker. Come on, stitch marker. There we go. So we have 1 in there, and we're putting a second one in there. And then we're going to do 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to do the repeat again. So 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch, and then 1 in the next 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoa, and 8. Okay, and we're going to do that 2 more times. We're going to have a total of 40 stitches, and this time I want you to work that and then work the 2 more rows of 1 each and meet me back. So we're going to do the increase with 2 extended single crochet and 1 in the next 8, and then we're going to work 2 rows with 1 extended single crochet in each one of the stitches. So that'll be a total of 40 in each row, and meet me back here after that is complete. All right, so we're back. We've done the increase row, and we've done the 2 rows that are just building up. So builder rows, I guess we could call them. So an increase row and 2 builder rows, all with 40 stitches in total. So we're about to do the next increase row. So let's get the stitch marker out, and we are going to do, once again, increasing. So 2 extended single crochets in the first stitch. There's 1, and let me get my little stitch marker back in there. And put the second one in the same stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then start the repeat again. So 2 extended single crochet in the next stitch. There's 1 and 2. All right, and then 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 9. 1, 2. Get that back out there and do the actual. There we go. 2. Sometimes that happens though, just saying, and like you can either go back and obviously rip out the stitch, or like 1 single crochet isn't going to kill the pattern if you're just flying along and you realize you did a single crochet. It's really up to you. I would rip it back, that being me, but I'm just saying if you make the little mistake, 1 little mistake is not going to make or break this pattern. So like don't feel pressured. It's a Santa hat. It's meant to be fun, right? So there's 3, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we're going to do that repeat 2 more times. That's going to put 44 stitches in this row. So that's our increase row. And then we're going to do 2, we're calling them, I guess, builder rows with 44 stitches in each, because you're going to put 1 extended single crochet in each of the stitches of those 2 rows. So finish off the increase row, do the 2 builder rows, and I will meet you back for the next increase. Okay, so by now you have done the increase row that was 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch and 1 extended single crochet in the next 9, and then you've done the 2 build up rows, which is just 1 extended single crochet in each stitch. You've done 44 stitches around in these rows, and we are about to move on to the next increase row. So we're going to pop our stitch marker out, and the increase in this is following with the recipe: 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch. So there's 1, and we're going to pop our stitch marker back into that 1, and put the second extended single crochet in that same stitch. Okay, and then in the next 10 stitches we're going to work 1 extended single crochet in each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're going to do that repeat again. So 2 extended single crochet, sorry, in the first stitch, and 1 in each of the next 10. So 1 extended single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If I can get it in there, that'd be great. Okay, then we're going to do that 2 more times. That's going to give you a total of 48 stitches, and then we're going to do the 2 build-up rows of 1 extended single crochet in each, also a total of 48 stitches in total. And after you finish this row and do the next 2 build-up rows, meet me back here for the next row. All right, I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so by now you have done the increase row and then the 2 build-up rows, all of which had a total of 48 stitches. And we are going to do the next increase row. So we're going to take the stitch marker out. The increase is, once again, 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch. So 1, actually, let's put the stitch marker back in before I get ahead of myself. Right into that first stitch again. So 1 and 2 into the same stitch. And then we are going, whoa, there we go. And then we're going to do 1 extended single crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. So let's do that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So as you can see, it's just a slow but continuous growth that we've got going on here. All right, so that's the first one. Let's do the repeat again. 2 extended single crochet in this first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 11 more stitches, 1 in each of the next 11 stitches. So 1 extended single crochet, 2 extended single crochet, 3 extended single crochet, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so we're going to work that repeat 2 more times. And then we're going to do the 2 build-up rows. So after the repeats are made, you're going to have a total of 52 stitches. And then the next 2 rows are just going to be 1 extended single crochet in each row, or in each stitch, I'm sorry, for 2 rows. So all 3 of the rows will end up with 52 stitches total, and then meet me back here and we'll do the next increase together. All right, and we're back, and we are finished with the 2 builder rows, and we are about to go on to the next, which the increase row will be 2 extended single crochets. Wow. In the first stitch. So do 1 and put your marker back on, and 1 more in that stitch, and then 1 extended single crochet in each one of the next 12 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoop, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's 1 time. Now we're going to do a second repeat, 4 total in this row, as with the rest of them, sorry. So we're going to do 2 extended single crochet in the next stitch, 1 and 2. And then 1 extended single crochet in each one of the next 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whoa, 11, and 12. Okay, we're going to do that 2 more times in this row, and that's going to give us a total of 56 stitches. And then we're going to do 2 more build-up rows with 1 extended single crochet in each one. So all of them are going to have 56 stitches, and I will meet you back here after we complete this one and do the next 2 rows. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. So by now you have finished the increase row and the 2 grow rows, or build up rows, sorry, of 56 stitches each. So we're going to go on to the next increase row. So we're going to move our stitch marker. And the next increase row is going to be 2 extended single crochet into the first stitch. So 1, let's place our stitch marker real quick, 2. Wow, if I can get my fingers to work, that would be awesome. So 1 and 2 into that first stitch. And then we're going to do 1 extended single crochet into the next 13 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoop. See, I told you I can't just do the single crochet. Let's do that again. 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, so we're going to do that 3 more times. We're going to do 2 extended single crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 extended single crochet into the next 13 stitches. That's going to give you a total of 60 stitches. And then we're going to do 2 build up rows with 1 extended single crochet in each of the stitches. So I will meet you back here after those 3 rows are finished. All right, we are so close to being done, you guys. This hat isn't hard to do, right? And it's going to look awesome, I promise. Okay, so we are about to start the next increase row. Remember, you've just done 3 rows total with 60 stitches. So the next row is going to start with the increase of 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch. So 1, place your stitch marker. And then 2 right back in that same stitch. All right, and then we're going to do 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 14 stitches. So you're just growing these by an extra one each time. So we're going to do 14 extended single crochet. There's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And then the increase, we're going to do 2 extended single crochet into this next stitch right here. There's 1 and 2, and then 14 stitches, 1 in each of the next 14 stitches, and that is your repeat. That's going to give you a total of 64 stitches for the increase row, and then you're going to do 2 build up rows of 1 extended single crochet each, which of course will still be 64 stitches total. And once you finish those 3 rows, just meet me back here for the next increase. We've only got a couple more to do, guys, and then the increase portion of the show will be done. Meet you back in a sec. All right, so we are back. We have just done the 3 rows with 64 stitches in each row, and we are about to start the next increase row. You guys still with me? Hanging in there? All right, so we have removed the stitch marker. We're going to put 2 extended single crochets into the first stitch, so there's 1, and we will place our stitch marker back on there. And put in our second into that stitch. So there's 2. Okay, and now we're going to put 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 15 stitches. So we'll do that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. All right, and we're going to do that 3 more times. So we're going to put 2 extended single crochet into this stitch. 1, 2, and then 1 extended single crochet into the next 15. And do that 2 more times. That means you're going to have a total of 68 stitches in this row. And then you're going to do 2 build up rows with 1 extended single crochet in each stitch. So all 3 of your rows are going to have 68 total stitches, and I will meet you back here to do the next increase. All right, so by now you are back from doing the last of the rows with 68 total stitches. We're going to do 2 more increases, and yeah, so that's going to be, what, 6 more rows, and then we'll be done with the increase portion of this lovely Santa hat. Let's take our stitch marker out to begin. Sorry, I don't want to crochet my own hair into the hat. Like, I do that enough by accident. I don't want to do it on purpose. All right, so the increase here is 2 extended single crochets in the first stitch. There's 1. We're going to place our stitch marker. And put the second one directly into the same stitch. Okay, and then we are going to do 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 16 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, wow, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And then we start the repeat over. So we're going to do 2 extended single crochets into the stitch. And then we're going to start doing 16, well, one extended single crochet in each of the next 16 stitches. We're going to do that twice more after that, and that's going to make this row come out to 72 stitches. Then we're going to do, excuse me, then we're going to do the 2 build-up rows of 1 extended single crochet in each stitch, and that is going to be 72 total again for both of those. Once you finish those, meet me back here for the last increase row. All right, so you have just finished the rows with 72 stitches in each row. And now we're going to start the last increase row, and we'll have 2 build-up rows, and then we'll be done with the increases of the hat. So we're going to start with 2 extended single crochet in the first stitch. There's 1. And let me place my stitch marker, because I would really hate to lose my stitches now after doing all this, right? So 1 and 2 into the same. Okay, then I bet you've guessed it by now. We're going to do 1 extended single crochet in each of the next 17 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, whoa, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 'Did I just single crochet? Yes. Let's take that back out, because hate doing that. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Gosh, guys. Let's try that again. 17. All right. And then we're going to do 2 extended single crochet into the next stitch. There's 1 and 2. All right, and then just carry on and do 1 extended single crochet into each of the next 17 stitches, and then do that 2 more times. That's going to give you a total of 76 total stitches, excuse me, and do 2 rows that are the build-up rows that have 1 extended single crochet in each stitch. So all 3 rows will have 76 total stitches. And then we are done with the big stockingy portion of the hat, and we are going to do 1 setup row for the brim, and then we are going to be done with the red part of the hat and onto the fur. So meet me back here when you're done with the last 3 rows here, and we will get started on that. Okay, so you have now finished the increase portion of the hat. And see, look at this nice pretty fabric that we're making with this extended single crochet. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Okay, so we need to do 1 row to get ready for the big floofy furry part of Santa's hat, the brim here. So what we're going to do is get rid of the stitch marker and slip stitch this closed. Okay, so it's closed now. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, okay, and we're going to single crochet into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into. Just regular single crochet this time, okay? So there's our single crochet, and we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. We're going to skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2. And this third one right here is where we're going to single crochet. Okay, so we're going to single crochet right there. So we're making these loops here that are big enough for our finger to fit through, because we're going to use quite a bigger size hook for the brim of the hat. But I promise it's going to go so quick and so smooth. You're going to love it. Okay, so we're going to do that again. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip 1, 2, and go into this one, which is the third one. And then chain 1 and 2, and skip 1 and 2, and go into the third and do a single crochet. And then we're going to do that again. And skip 1 and 2, and single crochet. And we are going to do that all the way around the hat. I will meet you back in just a jiff, and we're going to close this up. Okay, meet you right back. Okay, we have done this all the way around the hat at this point. So you have all these pretty loops. Not pretty, but I mean, they're loops. You're not going to see them. So they're neat and tidy and all that good stuff. And then we are going to come back. Now I think I might have counted off. I have 3 stitches here. So if you want to do one more chain and just slip stitch in, that's fine. Because I promise you, this fur is going to hide anything. So, I mean, I wouldn't even bother to go back and recount, honestly. So we're slip stitching into that, and then we're just going to finish it off. Clip your string, clip your yarn, your string. Clip your yarn, and here's what the base of the hat's going to look like. And we are about to move on to the fur. So at this point, I had mentioned, I believe, if you are more of a sewer and you have like furry, like fake fur trim in this and that, like you can totally just skip this part if you're planning to just fold it over and sew a brim onto it. But we're going to crochet a brim onto it. I'm also going to crochet a pom and show you how in just a minute out of the same faux fur. But like, to me, that's awesome because it matches the hat. But if you're not liking the way I do it, or if you would just much rather get a pom, of course, feel free to get a pom. We left the tail in the beginning of this hat so that it would be easier to tie and everything, and we'll get to that. But yeah, so for now, just cut your yarn and join me back here with your faux fur of choice, and we will start the brim. All right, so here we are, ready to put this fabulous furry brim on our Santa hat. Now, we are going to be using this giant hook, which is a 15.0 millimeter, which is a P or Q hook according to Clover. The Go for Faux yarn says to use an even bigger hook, so we're just gonna have to be like kind of careful, and we're just gonna go for it because this works. Obviously, you've seen the hat, so you know I've done it. This is what I've did it with. So we're gonna start by making a slip knot. My only hope is that I can show you guys well enough. But what I want to do is a standing double crochet. Now, if you can't see this well enough and you don't know how to do one, that's fine. Just do, just attach the yarn and do a chain 3. It'll be essentially the same. I just always have preferred standing double crochets for stuff like this. But just pick any spot. At this point, you have hopefully woven in your end to your red yarn or whatever yarn you're choosing for the base of your hat. Find one of these lovely little loopies that we made and stick your hook in there. And you want to wrap it around. I always try to keep the tail and hold it onto my hook while I'm doing this part. But you want to wrap it around and bring it through. And then just basically double crochet. Okay, there's 1 and 2. I know it's a little more awkward with this super fuzzy yarn. There we go. Okay, so standing double crochet, or like I said, attach and chain 3, whatever you prefer. And then literally, this is how fast this is gonna go, guys. You just find the next hole, put your hook in, and double crochet. Okay. Oh, except for when that happens. Try it again. Put your hook into the big loop and double crochet. And it's gonna seem kind of stiff and weird at first, honestly, but I promise this is what makes this beautiful furry brim. Let's just do that again. And you're just putting 1 stitch in each hole. Okay. Like, honestly, I had said this was a really easy hat, and I stand by that. It is a really easy hat. Honestly, this is the hardest part of this hat, and if you can get this, and probably the hardest part actually is threading a yarn needle and getting it woven in to the best of your ability. Honestly, if you are a sewer or you wanted to, I didn't think of this until just now, but you could probably just thread up a color that will match it on a normal small needle and thread and just sew the end into itself, like into the fuzz itself, really. And that would probably secure it too. So however you end up choosing to do it, we'll get to that later, of course. I was just like thinking ahead, I suppose. But see how it's starting to form this brim? And that's literally all there is to it, like until you get to the end and the sewing in. And if you have decided at this point to just do a pom on the end of the hat instead of making one, as soon as this part is over, then you just attach your pom and boom, you're done. We are going to make a pom, so if you want to do that, you can. But literally just go through here and double crochet your way around, and I will meet you back up once I have done that and attempt to show you how to sew in the ends. All right, I will meet you back around here in just a minute, guys. Okay, so I just finished my last double crochet here, and except for the tails, you can see it's made a pretty nice brim here. Very furry, very Santa-y. And this feels like Buttah yarn is so soft. Like, this is soft. This is soft. This hat, I can see why it would be Santa's favorite hat, because this is just like a dream to touch. A dream. And it's worth the effort of working with this faux fur yarn. But, so now that we've reached the end, to connect, to join, you just kind of got to feel your way around, honestly, and you know that if you did the standing double crochet with me, the tail is going to be right at the end of your stitch. So you just kind of got to feel around in there and join. And when I am doing the standing double also, I hold the tail to do this part, so it just kind of holds it a little tighter. And I would imagine that would help with the faux fur, with the gopher faux too. Then you just slip it however you can. And do the binding off of it. Okay, and then I would leave a nice long tail here and clip your yarn. And here's what you're left with. Pull your end through. And now we are going to attempt to hide these ends, or like, okay, I'm going to do my best to show you how to hide these ends, but if you already know that this hat is going to get like 2 pictures taken and you're done, I mean, feel free to just kind of hand weave this stuff into the back if you really, really want, because like once you do stuff like that, here, like even overlapping this will blend right in. If you're not doing much at all with this hat, look how easy that blends right in. But while I am going to probably hand wash all of my hats like this, I am going to try to do this on camera. I've done it twice already with my hats, 3 times already, but I'm going to try to show you how to sew the ends in. Now, let me tell you that you want a heavy duty needle. I use metal needles, obviously, but I buy from Joann's these Susan Bates needle packs. They have 4 needles in. They have 2 of these like bent ones that are good for like amigurumi and whatever else you use them for. That's mostly what I use them for. Truth be told, I don't use the bent ones as often anyway, as the straight ones, even for like amigurumi and stuff. But there's a big size, which is this one, and a smaller one, and then there's a big size straight one and a smaller one. So, but this is probably your best bet at getting this at getting this through this, okay? And one tip is to pinch this, and you can feel when you pinch, I can't really show you, but you can feel as you're pinching that there is a coarse string in the center of this yarn, and you just have to try to feed that through. See, it's trying to go through, and it's harder to do looking through the camera, but like I got some fuzz through here. Okay, let's try this one more time. See, it's starting to come through. In theory, with a big eyed needle like this, you can grab that. And like I said, this is probably the hardest part of the hat, to be honest with you. And pull, and try to pull all your fur in evenly so you don't start like shaving your yarn. And you don't have to have a whole lot threaded through, so don't fight too hard with it. But you do have to get enough through to kind of be able to, you know, go through stitches to secure it in without worrying that this is going to come right off. Do you know what I mean? So try to just work that through it the best that you can. And come on. Of all the times I've done this so far, this has been the hardest time that I've had with this, just so you know. So like, I'm fighting with you, but it's a lot easier. There we go. See, after a point, it just goes, oh, that had 2 strings in it that we were trying to fight through. And it separated, see? I didn't know this yarn was made of more than 1 string. Now we know. Okay, so you have it threaded now. And go to the back and just, my best advice is just, like I said, to feel around, and it helps to have this bent needle because then you can kind of like push it through and see the tip coming through easier, I guess. But just do that down the rest of your stitch, and don't pull like crazy willy-nilly on it either. Just gently pull it, because at this point it should go pretty quick or pretty easily through. And just make sure you're going under strings and not just fur, or it's not going to attach to anything. But just pinch between your fingers and you should be able to feel it. And I would only go through like a stitch or two at a time to sew in your ends. And normally I would say, you know, go back and forth like 3 times. I think this fur probably catches on itself quite a bit, as noted by the fact that you're trying to yank it through, but I would do at least like an inch or so one way and an inch or so the other way at least. And make sure you're not do your best to make sure you're not going back through the same hole. Just because obviously it's going to pull right through then if you do that. And like I said, just take your time with this part. Like, it's not a marathon. You don't have to tug and, you know, hopefully you haven't left such a time limit on yourself that you don't have time to take time with it, because this ends up being such a pretty hat, in my opinion. You don't want to spoil it by breaking the yarn or, frankly, hurting yourself trying to pull it through. See, like, I think I bit off more than I can chew there, so we're going to pull it back out. And let's go in for a shorter pass. Once you're satisfied with the amount of sewing in you've done, flip your, oh, see, I went through, can you see right there? I went through the red yarn. That's probably a no-no too, because that yarn is not as thick or whatever, obviously, or it's not as forgiving as this other yarn is. There we go. So it's pulling through. I'm going to clip this one. I'm going to sew in the other end, and then I will come back and we will make a pom. And don't clip too close either, is my advice, or you'll end up clipping some of this fur too. Now, after you've sewn in the ends, if you are doing your own pom up here or whatnot, like just, you know, a store-bought one, then by all means, we are done. And you've completed your hat. But if you are, oh, that's not true, actually. Let's not forget sewing in the end that's buried way down in this tip here. So if you are putting your own pom on, however you decide to attach it, there is an end, don't forget, that is down in here. You just have to turn the hat inside out and find it. So there's the one we buried, which we'll be sewing in just a second. Or I will show you when we make the pom. I left such a long tail so that we can attach it, bring it back in, and tie it inside. But anyway, off camera, I'm going to finish sewing this in, and I will meet you back for the pom and the attachment of the pom. Okay, so to make the optional pom, because like I said, of course, if you want to buy one, that's fine, or use anything else, that's fine. But here's how I make the pom that I have on this hat. So I make a regular slip knot on this giant hook again. And then whichever you're comfortable with, 3 or 4, I would chain, let's say 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then by feel, find your first chain and go in there and slip stitch everything I like the best that you can, basically, right? You'll know if it's held or not by feel, and you'll have this little ring. Okay, so now that you have this little ring made, chain up 2, 1, 2, and you're going to double crochet honestly, however many double crochets that you want to fit into this little ring, and I would crochet over the tail. You do however many you feel. Like, I believe I did 8, so we're going to do 8 and see how that looks today. The first chain 2 counts as 1, so this will be 2. And it's gonna look like a hot mess to start with. I'm aware, just so you know, you're not doing anything wrong if yours looks crazy. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5. I keep finding that ring, huh? 5. There we go. 5. And 6. So still looks like kind of weird, like a big weird fluff, right? Let's see if we can fit 2 more stitches in there. 7, just because that'll make it nice and full. I mean, really, if you think you can fit 10 in there, or if you only want to fit 6 in there, you can make this pom look however you want. Let's see, here's my circle. All right, this is 8 that I have put in there. So I do 8, and then I just want to take a look and see. So like, here's the bottom where your ring is, right there. You can still fit your finger in just a little bit. So what we're going to get rid of this end, or if, like I said, you don't plan to put this through the washer, which I would not, you could even use your tail and just stuff it in there so you don't have to sew it in or anything for that end. But you're looking to see how this shape looks. Now this is going to be sewn up, so like, I'm pretty happy with that. I think it looks good. I think it'll look better when my fingers and my hook aren't sitting here. But I am going to end it with 8 of them again. So you go in, here was the chain. This was your first one. And it's just a guess, like, here's the beginning of the chain. But if you don't go into the beginning of the chain and you find the loop for your first double crochet, it's not the end of the world if you use that instead. Like, basically just pick a good spot to join up and slip stitch. Okay, now you decide whether you want to cut your tail or if you want to just use it for stuffing. I'm going to use mine for stuffing. And you'll be sewing this up, but just to kind of secure it, I guess, stick your hook in across at somewhere, like either between the double crochets, which I think is where mine ended up going, or if you want to feel around for the V part of one of the double crochets. But I am going to secure it a little bit by slipping across there. And see, you've already basically made this puff ball, so that's just gonna, we can even slip one more if you, okay, let me show you again. So this is where you ended up. This is where your chain was. This is where you slip stitched across and you pulled it tight. Okay, then off onto one of the other directions. You could do the same thing and slip stitch it if you want. And there is your puff ball right there. Okay, now we're going to just secure that and cut it. Let's see, I would leave quite a bit of tail. It doesn't hurt. Like you will probably end up with a little trim waist, but honestly, I got 2 hats for each one of the Go for Faux skeins that I used, and that's going to be, you're not going to get a third one out of it. So I mean, having a little bit of waist to know that you've secured and in the ends pretty well, to me, is worth it. Like I had said earlier, if you're a sewer, you may want to just get some coordinating thread, like white with this one or whatever, and just like literally sew it shut. That might be easier for you. We're going to go through the fight again of threading this needle. But this should be the last time you have to do this if you are doing this with me. Which I still say, this is probably the hardest part of the entire hat, is getting this needle threaded. I had a thought while I was working on the sewing the ends in on the brim, and I think it's Lion Brand, but I'm not sure. It might be Clover, that has these they're big metal needles, but they have like a nylon string that's huge up here for the eye, and then I think you tighten it or something. That would probably be much easier if you're going to do a lot of these or whatever. That would probably be a much easier option to just invest in that. I actually think it's Clover now that I'm saying that. But again, just get enough of it through your needle here that you don't have to worry about it falling off the edge, and find where it came out of. So it came out here. If you feel there is a slight opening here, so this is your top. And I mean, basically you're just going to reach over and tug your yarn in and kind of tighten that up. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but I'm just literally whip stitching this because it's very furry, if you haven't noticed by now. And it's just going to all blend together anyway. And honestly, if you're trying to do this like meticulously well, it's going to be quite the struggle. And I'm not trying to have you here all night doing that. And just a couple times would secure it and tie it off, I suppose. And tie it off like this, and then what I'm going to do after it's tied is I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to shove it back into here, and I'm going to try to push it all the way through the palm till it's coming out this end right here, and give that a good tug. And essentially I am going to hide the tail in there. And we're going to clip it right here. Again, not too terribly close because you don't want to cut the fur of your actual palm. Okay, and then like I left a really long tail, so I did end up with a little bit of waist. But yeah, what I ended up with was a pretty solid little palm. And then what I'm going to do is my hat is turned inside out. I'm going to thread this needle here, which will be a lot easier with this yarn. Let me tell you what. Thread that needle. And the first thing I'm going to do with the needle, though, is I am going to sew in and secure this down just a little bit, because remember we started this with a magic circle. So I'm just going to like tuck around in here. And again, if you're using another palm that you're securing to the outside or whatnot, you may just want to sew this in and tie it and, you know, weave your end in and you're good. But I am going to put my needle in here and poke it back through the magic circle because I am going to sew this pom on. So if the magic circle is closed up too tight, just get it through like the side here. Here, let me show you. See, like my magic circle is very tightly closed still. So like I'm just going through the top of the stitch essentially of the first round that we did and pulling it through and pulling my hat back right side out. So the pom is on the outside, obviously. See, and then once we pull it through, it's right at the top basically. And see if I can do this on camera. Put my needle through just like that much, about an inch or so, and bring it in here. And at this point, you are literally just securing this pom down. Otherwise, like if you don't want to do that, what I was going to tell you originally with the long tail is instead of sewing it in like I'm doing right now, don't poke it back out. Poke it into the hat and then tie it inside. But I'm not going to do that because my hats are not going to be put through a whole lot of, you know, stress anyway. It's just a Santa hat. So I'm going to tie it in, or sew it in, I mean. You want to try to sew it in across from each other a little bit because that'll even it out and you're not going to have like a wonky pom laying at the end of it, you know? Do you know what I mean? So like I'll even sew it and then come in and let's try to stay on camera and do this and bury it in the yarn a little bit so that it comes out like in another direction, and then come up to the top and sew it in from here, pushing it through the other side. And just basically sew this down and secure it until you're happy with it. Push the yarn through and sew in your ends, and then you are left with this dangly, pretty, fluffy pom. Okay, and that should be everything you need to know about the fur parts of the hat.